Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm backing out of the driveway, so I'm not gonna talk until I know I've backed anything. All right, so anything behind us. All right, so let's see here. Let's see if the garage door shutter works. Look at that. The door shut on the first try. I'll be damned. What the hell, man? What a great day we're having. So anyway, what's going on, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Dr. Boyce TV, the home for intelligent black people. If you are not black and intelligent, then you may want to get the fuck out, because we're going to probably hurt your feelings, and I'm sure we're going to confuse you at some point. Now, what am I doing now, and why am I talking to you from the car? Well, today I'm headed to New York. We're going there for about 3 or 4 days to handle some business and meet some people, make some friends, see a Broadway show. It is the Queen's birthday. She just had a birthday, and I won't tell her age, but she's looking better than all the I ain't never seen a 25-year-old look better than you, baby. So you are as gorgeous as they come with your sexy butt. I love me a sexy black woman, and this is she's the one. So anyway, yeah. So today, as I'm driving to the airport, do you know how to get to O'Hare by heart?
I do.
Okay, I was just saying because I still have to GPS it a little bit. So we're going to we're riding to the airport, and I was thinking about something that some people are saying happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Hit the thumbs up buttons and SoundCloud and all that stuff, and somebody say happy birthday, Alicia, Dr. Alicia, so they know that you're Dr. Alicia.
Thank you.
Yeah, and she's a real doctor. She's not one of those microwave doctors. Like I got my doctorate on the internet in 6 weeks because I paid $10 million to some for-profit school. No, we went through hell to get our PhD.
Sure did.
And the funny thing is, we've known each other for 20-some years, but I never knew you intended fully on getting a doctorate until you did it. Right. I knew your father had a PhD, but I didn't know that was what you were going to do. So it's crazy. But anyway, let's move on. So here's here's what happened, and here's what I was going to address. Charlamagne Tha God, who is a guy that I respect. He's a friend of mine, on the Breakfast Club. He had Elizabeth Warren on the show, and Elizabeth Warren is running for president. I'll just tell you about it a bit. Yeah, so Elizabeth Warren is running for president, as we all know, and Elizabeth is she's pretty much on the left, but but she's held it together reasonably well, I think, like even better than like say a Nancy Pelosi or somebody like that, in terms of maintaining her reputation. And so Elizabeth comes on the Breakfast Club, and going on the Breakfast Club is kind of something all the candidates do now, apparently. Like that's just the thing to do, because you had Cory Booker on there and Kamala Harris, and their appearances were just not good. Like Bernie Sanders didn't do well. None of them did well. Elizabeth Warren went on there, and she went into the lion's den, and I appreciate the fact that they interview presidential candidates, because I think the community should hear from the candidates. I would actually, if there were Republicans and Democrats trying to get the nomination, like I think it would be great to have like all the candidates from all the parties and the independent candidates too. Has
Donald Trump been on there?
No, I think Trump going on the Breakfast Club would probably be messy, because Trump is so bombastic. He's not. I don't think he's nearly as bad of a guy in person as people make him, as the media's made him into. Yeah. But he hasn't helped the situation by not giving a fuck. He literally just is like, every day I give zero fucks about anything. And so I think Trump, that would just be like a shit show. But it would be interesting to see Charlamagne up against Trump, because both of them have those, those really interesting personalities. Like, I'm going to say whatever's on my brain, and I don't care what you think. So actually, I think that would be a great idea. What do y'all think? I think that would be like a great show to have Trump and Charlamagne in the same place. Oh my God. So Elizabeth Warren went in there, and she's answering all her questions and talking about really hitting a lot of points better than almost every other Democratic candidate, in terms of
you saw it.
I did watch some of it, yeah. And she was talking about student loan debt and kind of getting rid of that. She had a plan. She was talking about the healthcare disparities for black women. She talked about HBCUs, supporting HBCUs. Like she was really, she didn't seem scared to talk about black people. Like she didn't do that Bernie Sanders, like, we're going to help everybody kind of thing, and I don't give a shit about your uniqueness as black people. Elizabeth Warren seemed to try, at least, relative to most white people, to acknowledge the differences, to acknowledge that there's a difference between being a poor black person and a poor white person, or even to be a middle class black person and a middle class white person. Like, it's not the same experience. And so anyway, so Charlamagne brings up the fact that Elizabeth Warren used to tell everybody she was part Native American, that she had Native American heritage, and she actually put that on her. I think when she was teaching at Harvard, she had that on her, like, I don't know if it was her job application or her whatever it was, where you list your background. And later on, apparently, I guess it was found that she didn't have any Native American heritage, that she really was. And in fact, Trump actually calls her Pocahontas, like, to be an asshole about it. And so so when it comes up, so Charlamagne, he does what he's supposed to do. He's crazy, but he's a good journalist. So he goes in and he starts asking her, like, so what about this? Like, why did you do this? Like, what did you, what made you stop doing this? And why did you start in the first place? And he says, you're kind of like the original Rachel Dolezal. Right? And I was like, ooh, ouch.
Okay, what was her answer?
She didn't really answer the question directly. She basically just said, I remember her saying, she said, I am not a person of color. I am not part of a Native American tribe. And she said, I just got that from my parents. She said, like a lot of people, she said, my parents told me what I was, and I just believe them. And she's, so I think that.
So that's different from Dolezal.
Yeah, it's definitely different from Dolezal. But again, you don't know if it's true or not. I mean, I'm sure her people have sat around strategizing on how they were going to deal with this, right? Like with Obama, like they spent a lot of time strategizing on a lot of things, I'm sure. But one of, I'm sure, was like, how do we explain drug use in the past, right? Okay, well, in the book you mentioned that you tried cocaine one time and blah 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 blah, which usually whatever they admit to is like
it's
a
way
fraction.
more than that.
Right. But then what you can do then is when somebody comes up and says, aha, we found out you used cocaine, then he'll be like, oh, well, that's old news. That was in my book, so I already talked about that. Like, so next question, please, right? So a lot of times that's what politicians do, is they deflect from the issue. They don't actually answer the question. And so the other thing I know Obama strategized on big time was they couldn't get black people to vote for him. Like, black people were all hooked on the white Democratic candidates. So like Cornel West told me the story where him and David Axelrod, I believe, and there was I think it might have been that Harvard guy, the Harvard professor. A couple of people got together and they were in a hotel room and they were all just sitting around saying, what's our plan to get black people behind him? Like, how do we get black people to vote for Barack? And whatever they came up with, the shit worked, because black people fell in love with Obama, boy.
I know I did.
Yeah, well,
I fell in love with him at first.
Well, I'm not gonna be in love with no other man, but you know what I mean. But I was, when he got elected, I was like, okay, congratulations. I guess this is the best that we can get in this society. I didn't feel, even then I didn't feel like, oh yeah, this is gonna make life better for black people.
I was so happy.
Now I think that the system is but the system's so racist.
I knew that too, and I knew it.
Yeah, so to me, the system's racist. We know this, right? Yeah. So like systematic racism is the number one racism in our society. So, if the system chooses you to be the head of the system, then you got to embody values that are consistent with that system. Yeah. So it's like capitalism. Like American corporations are capitalists. So you ain't gonna be running, Applebee's or Starbucks Corporation if you're not a capitalist.
I thought he would be punished, and he hasn't really been punished.
I think Obama's gonna be punished if he ever gets out of line. Like, I think they've got him really well tamed. He doesn't
if you follow the status, even if you follow the rules, you still get shunned.
Well, I heard a couple of stories that it was interesting that because the country's so divided, there's like stuff where half the country can believe it and the other half will just ignore it, and that's kind of where we are as a society. But that, like, those stories about that one guy that got killed in Chicago and how his mother was saying, I'm leaving Chicago because I'm afraid they're going to kill me too, and they killed my son because of this interaction. I'm not even going to go into it too much because I don't like talking about that stuff. But that stuff is like all over the right wing. But a lot of people on the left just are like, that's just propaganda. It's all a lie. But it's like, publish it, like it's out there, like you can Google it. So I find that really fascinating that there are these stories that are out there that might normally destroy a lot of people, but he's been like, Teflon Obama.
Yeah, nothing's gotten to him yet.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming.
Well, I think that if he ever gets too radical or ever actually really thinks he has real power, I think that's when they'll come get him, because they can take down anybody. Anybody, especially a man,
Yeah.
any man can be taken down. Even
Any person.
any
man
person, but with men it's easy. All you gotta do is catch men having sex, and you gotta say right. And men fuck a lot, right?
That's so true.
So basically, you catch a man like he fucked his the vice president of his company, or he fucked the maid, or whatever, and then it's like, oh, he's a bad person because he was having sex, right? So
or him being gay, but I guess that doesn't
well,
seem to do anything.
no, being gay doesn't get you no more. Like that's actually, you get applauded for that, So, but anyway, but yeah, so back to Elizabeth Warren. Hit the thumbs up button, by the way. Please hit the thumbs up button. And I don't know if you guys joined Black Enough or not, but here's how you spell it. That's our social media platform we created for Black people that want to get away from Facebook a little bit. So feel free to join Black Enough. So anyway, so here's the deal with Elizabeth Warren. My 2 cents on it is that I think Charlamagne was right to ask what he wanted to ask, but I think that what we want to be cautious about on some level is getting into the stupidity of politics. To me, the stupidity of politics is that they'll ignore the important shit, but they'll drill down on the dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like even with Obama, like if you're gonna
real issues,
right to me, yeah, right. Like so to me, like I had an issue with the fact that the Obama administration would not acknowledge black unemployment on hardly any level. I didn't really care about his birth certificate. Like, so the fact that they were drilling in on that, like, where were you born and where's your real birth certificate? Like, I thought that was like silly. Like, it's just, but that's what they do in politics. So like with Elizabeth Warren, I don't really care. Like, if her mama made her think she was Native American, I wouldn't give a fuck. Who cares, man? Like, does that mean she should? I mean, if her policies were good, if I was going to vote for a Democrat, I'll say this: if I was going to vote for a Democrat, I would probably vote for her.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not voting for a Democrat. I'm not voting for anybody right now. But if I were going to vote for a Democrat, she would be the one, because I listen to I listen to how they speak. I listen to the inflection in their voice. I pay attention to their words. And I when Bernie Sanders talks, it's like, okay, I kind of see it, but I don't really know. The other ones, the black ones ain't nothing. The black people that are running, like Kamala and Corey, the problem I have with them is that they're not authentic. They don't feel empowered enough, and that happens to the well-trained Negro. When you get the well-trained, integrated Negro who's like really fits into like white folks and has a lot of white people who like him, he's never truly himself. Mm-hmm. He never feels like, at least, I mean, for example, you look at a guy like Charlamagne, or even myself, like we are who we are, right? And you gain points for just being who the fuck you are and not being afraid of that. But the well-trained Negro who fits into into white spaces really well, you always get a sense that it's not the real him. It's like he's
you have to release your blackness. You have to get rid of all your blackness.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think. It's like I don't know, like a piece of fruit, but it's not the real fruit. It's like wrapped in plastic. You know what I mean? Like
genetically modified.
Yeah. Like it's like whoever you are, it's not the real you. The real you might be below the surface, but the real you is wrapped in plastic. So it looks almost real, and then you get closer, you poke at it, you're like, wait a minute, oh, this is wrapped in plastic. Like I'm not getting the real you. And so I feel like with Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, I'm not seeing like the real them. And I don't know what the real Cory Booker looks like. I mean, Cory Booker to me, he looks like Obama 2.0. He wears the same damn colors, same damn skin complexion, same ball. Well, actually, they don't have the same ball head. Sorry about that. But they just have so many things in common. Like, it's kind of weird, like how these politicians copy Obama. And then Kamala is like talking about how she smoked weed listening to Tupac in 1986, and just saying things that you're just like, come on, like are you telling me like that's your way of relating to black people? Like, we don't all sit around and smoke all day.
Black people like people to be authentic. We don't like phony people.
It's
really bad.
Yeah, I think black people like you if you just show us who you are. So if you're a nerdy white guy, then that's cool. Like if you're a cool nerdy white guy, be that. Whatever you are, just be that. And I don't feel like Kamala was being herself. I don't feel like Cory was being himself. Now the funny thing is Bernie Sanders really was being himself, I felt. And Bernie is like, the interesting thing, let me see, Tariq Nasheed hasn't spoken about Nipsey's murder. Okay. I don't know what that was all about. I didn't see that quote. I'm driving, so I can't read. But yeah, I guess Tariq has some theories about Nipsey. No, it's at the bottom. You can read if you want to. What does it say?
Oh, they think he's a fraud, a fake.
They think who's a fraud?
Tariq Nasheed. I don't know about that, but Tariq Nasheed hasn't spoken about Nipsey's murder. He is a fraud.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand that, but so that makes sense to me.
Well, I have nothing to say about any of that.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I've done business with Tariq and it went fine, with Hidden Colors and all that. So I don't really, we don't even talk. Tariq and I haven't really talked. We haven't talked for about probably a couple of years. I saw him at this event at Cal State, Long Beach, and he was there. Umar Johnson was there too. But Umar would not. They put me and Tariq were in the green room waiting to speak.
Yeah.
Umar would not come in the room with us. They sent him upstairs, and I was like, Umar's here. Why don't you just bring us all in the same room? We can all talk. And they were like, Umar does not want to be in the room with you, with either one of you. Yeah. And I was like, sheesh, man, come on, bro. Let's talk it out. But anyway, but he did. I'm sure he did a great job with his speech, and he had his book there, and there were people there to get their book signed and all that. And he deserves it. He's a smart. I saw the thing on Hidden Colors where he was talking about the organ stealing and all that.
Okay. Yeah, I remember looking.
Yeah, that story sounds really plausible and compelling, right? I think the thing I'm always worried about is letting a conspiracy theory just go too far, right? Like if you start believing things without evidence, then you'll believe even more without evidence. And I can just keep tacking on information. Like I can just keep tacking things on. Oh, and by the way, aliens were the ones who actually stole the organs because they're taking the organs back to the mothership. You know what I mean?
I like to follow conspiracy theories. I just don't like to talk about them in public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just it's necessary to keep abreast of that. But public, just keep, people who know better know not to discuss it,
Yeah, and I think also, we know that there is a conspiracy. There always is.
Yeah.
Right? The government's always running game. It's just we never know exactly what the conspiracy is.
Right.
And that's the thing. So we keep guessing, and sometimes we guess wrong. But when people ask me about conspiracy theories, I'll be like, well, I don't know about that particular theory, but I do know that there is some kind of theory because I do believe black people get duped. I think we've been duped on many occasions.
Absolutely.
So, when they were telling the story about organ harvesting, I was listening. I was like, well, if it were true, I wouldn't be surprised. Because remember that Kendrick, what's his face? Kendrick Johnson, the guy down in Georgia, when he died mysteriously and they exhumed his body and it was filled with fucking newspaper. Explain that shit. Tell me what the hell was going on with that. Where was his heart and lungs and kidneys?
And we know there's a black market for it. Yeah, so
exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, there's a black market. And we know that black people are the most vulnerable, so it ain't out of the question. It ain't like...
I was going to question too much where we're missing, all those missing black people.
Well, I know. Tell me, did y'all see that on Hidden Colors about the organ harvesting from black people? And they're kind of basically saying that a lot of the things that look like accidental deaths or drive-bys and stuff like that are really organs being harvested. If you saw that, yes or no? Tell me yes or no. Was it enough for organ donor on your driver's license?
Organ donor.
Well, you know what? Umar actually gave a good solution. He said, just put it in your will.
Yeah, but isn't there a window?
I don't know. That's true.
Stay in. Because your organs are only good for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's still good to put it in your will.
Yeah,
and not make it public. Yeah.
Well, let me say this. I'm gonna ask Tangi because my sister does autopsies.
Yes.
So she'll give me the real deal. I'll bring my sister on here one day so y'all can meet her. But she does autopsies, and I would imagine if there was this thing where they were killing people in Chicago and taking their organs, she would have seen or heard something, right? Because at the coroner's office, they see the dead body right after the death.
It goes in the morgue.
Okay.
It goes in the morgue, and I think that they take the organs right there in the ER or trauma unit. Because I used to work in the hospital, Cook County. And I know that I've been to the morgue, but I don't know at what point it goes to for the autopsy. Maybe
Okay.
if they're organ donor, the organs. I don't know. We'd have to ask her.
Oh, but somebody mentioned missing people. What about people where they never find the body?
They never find the body. I really do think there's something to that, but
that's real shit.
That's
right
a conspiracy theory.
There we go. Mystery solved, motherfuckers. Mystery solved. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. And also, don't forget, we have our investing masterclass on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. So if you want to learn how to invest in the stock market or just investing in general, you can go to drboycemasterclass.com. That's drboycemasterclass.com. Use the code word Powernomics and you can get 50% off. Use the code word Powernomics at drboycemasterclass.com. You can get half off. We meet every Tuesday night. If you're in the masterclass, mention it so everybody can know how great it is. There's a lot of good stuff being learned there. But yeah, so going back to Elizabeth Warren and Charlamagne, what's interesting is that, Elizabeth Warren, had spent all these years saying that she was Native American. And then later on, I guess, through an investigation, they find out she's not. And then they asked, I think somebody asked her on the Breakfast Club, did you benefit from being labeled Native American? Like, did you get? And she answered that question. She said no. She said the Boston Globe did a thorough investigation and they found that there was no benefit I received from it. So to me, it's like, if you never got a benefit, then who gives a fuck, right? But then again, though, maybe there was a benefit in the sense that if she was a professor at Harvard and Harvard was looking to find people they could label as minority, then she would be labeled that way, right? And the thing is, when I was at Syracuse, I remember when I went through that bullshit at Syracuse University.
Yes.
And I remember that I called them out. I said, you have departments on this campus that have never hired a black person, like ever. And so, they came out, this is when I knew I had them. I knew I got them defensive because they literally came out with a flat out lie. They literally came back and said something like, because one of my colleagues called me and told me that they came out and said, like, I think they said 30 or 40% of their faculty are people of color, or in fact, I think they might have said even black. I could have swore they said black. Either way,
that's never the case.
Yeah, either way, I remember somebody I worked with. One of the other professors called me and she said, "Where are all these black people that they talking about?" She said, "Tell me, because I've been here 6 years and I ain't seen none of them." So it just kind of showed me like how desperate they were to tell a lie. And I think that's one of the issues I would have with, as somebody mentioned here, the $5 Indians. Yeah. $5 Indians, Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that on Powernomics Thursday, where people could pay $5 and get registered as an Indian. Well, with the problem with the $5 Indians is it allows white people to hire more white people and replace black people with those white people. So they then get to say, "Oh, we look at how many minorities we have," and that's why I tell people, like, don't stop, don't even listen when they talk about how many minorities they have and how much diversity they have, because a lot of universities that focus on diversity and minority as opposed to black and African American, that means they're getting their diversity from bullshit, from other categories, and it's fine if you got gay people, that's cool. If you got handicapped people, that's fine. If you got Native Americans, that's cool. If you got people from other Asians, that's fine. But you need African Americans in there, and African Americans, we kind of get pushed to the side, we kind of get shoved down, and you find situations where there just are no African American people at all. And it's like, in our society, there is a place for African American people, especially African American men. Keep straight. Don't go this way.
294.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sounds good. You just tell me where to exit.
Yeah, but wait, continue. But what you were saying?
Yeah, but like African Americans, like African American men, like they don't have jobs. They're like marginalized. Like 45% of all the black men in Chicago between 20 and 24 do not have a job and are not in school. And the fact that the government doesn't make that a state of emergency just is a very telling sign of how they view the black male. Like they would never do that to the white females. Like if 45% of all white women couldn't get a job, that would be considered the number one priority of any politician. But what they do
National agenda.
Yeah, but they don't even talk about it. They don't even bring it up. And it's one of those crazy things where, like to them, we are the invisible people. We are the people that just simply do not matter. And I'm just not gonna support people who don't think that my people matter. I can't do that. I can't be a part of any agenda where you act like black people are just not real, or like we somehow deserve suffering. It's like, I'm supposed to be upset because a white woman got her titty touched, and that's enough to destroy somebody's life. But black men being murdered in the streets, being hauled away to prison, black mothers being, put through all kinds of crazy trauma because the families are broken up, like that's 100 times worse than a lot of the shit they put in front of us.
There's no empathy for our struggle at all.
Yeah, very little empathy.
Yeah.
So, and it's fine. I mean, I guess it is what it is, in the sense that it's like, well, if that's how you want to play it, then fine, let's play it that way. Like, I would prefer to live in a world where they showed up and they said, we really understand what the black male is going through, and we really want to work with you to address this, and we'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. And if they had one meeting with me or anybody, not even me, they wouldn't have to talk to me, because I know politicians, I don't like politicians and they don't like me. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But they, with me or somebody like me or Claude Anderson or whoever, we could give them solutions that they can implement next week that would solve that problem very quickly. Like, for example, if they came to, if they had a panel like myself and Claude Anderson and a couple other smart people, let's say a Louis Farrakhan and some other people, and we all sat down and they said, look, we're having trouble with black males in the school system. Black boys are struggling in the schools. Black children are just not doing well. What's the solution? And we've got $10 billion that we're going to allocate to solve this problem. Well, it'd be easy. I'd be like, okay, here's what you do. There's a school in Chicago called Freedom Home Academy International, another school, the Muhammad University of Islam, and a few others around the country. There's the other school, I forgot the other one, where they have 100% college acceptance rates. You know what I'm talking about, that one school in Chicago.
Oh, yeah,
is it King?
The all-boys school? No, it's not King.
Somebody state the name of that school, somebody, because I can't remember the name of the school.
I know the principal.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I would basically say, okay, it's easy. That's an easy. Give me something tough, because this is easy. All you do, you go to those schools, we take whatever they're doing with their children, and we use our money to replicate that. And we begin construction next week on 1,000 schools across the country that are going to be focused solely on replicating this model of education to make sure that black children get educated. If they were to say, well, how do we solve the black unemployment crisis? Black unemployment has been double white unemployment for as long as we can remember. There's a massive issue of black people not having jobs. It would be very easy. I would say, okay, here's what you do. You go, and let's say they said we got $5 billion to solve that problem. I'd say, okay, very easy. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up economic training centers in every hood across America. And we're going to incentivize people in the community to participate in these economic training centers. That if you go there and you graduate, we're not going to put you in any debt. It's totally free. And we're going to invest $10,000 to get your business off the ground. But we're going to make sure that in these incubators, you're fully trained on how to run a business. So if it's a family business, we'll back you. If it's an individual business, we'll back you, whatever. But it's got to be up and up. You got to fill out the paperwork. In fact, we'll be partners, we'll be equity. The centers can be equity owners in these businesses, so the centers don't even have to depend on government money. They can actually fund themselves after a while. And we're going to train, in the next 10 years, not even 10 years, 5 years, we're going to train, 3 million black people to run businesses and to be investors on the 3 pillars of wealth: investing, on entrepreneurship, and real estate. So 3 to 5 million black people in the next 3 to 5 years will all be trained on those 3 areas, and then we're going to give them capital so they can go out here and really get it in. Do you know that would probably increase black wealth by $2 or $3 trillion in a generation? That would dramatically shrink the wealth gap.
Faster than a generation.
Absolutely. And then what would happen is you don't have to give them the jobs. Like, they would create the jobs. The jobs would come out of the community. So it's like the difference between if a man is hungry and you say this man needs food, you could go give him food, but it's better if you give him some seeds and show him how to farm. And then you can leave the premises. Just be like, okay, here's a farmer's training program. Here's some land. Here's some seeds. Good luck, right? And then when you come back, he would have more food than he would ever need in order to survive. So the black community, the solutions are easy, and the fact that people don't respond to solutions that are easy and clear tells you clearly what their thinking is. It tells you clearly that black people just don't matter, that we're not we're just not part of the equation for them. So my thing is like, fine, you know, if you don't want us to be part of the equation, then fuck you. Then you ain't gonna be part of my damn equation. You know what? I'm gonna go solve this problem on my own. We're gonna use our little tiny resources. You know, we ain't got, you know, we've made millions of dollars over the years, but we don't have nearly enough money to implement the vision that I actually have. So we're gonna take our little money, and we're going to do what we can with what we got. Instead of getting it done in 3 years, 5 years, it's going to take us 30 years, but we still going to get it done. And the whole way, we're not going to thank you for shit. We're not going to consider you to be a partner. You're not going to get my vote. You're not going to get my support. You're not going to get my money. You're not going to get my endorsement. You ain't getting shit from me because you sat there pretending to be an ally and you watched my people die. You watched black men die out here on the street, and you gave zero fucks about that. You're watching black women out here struggling and suffering. Do you know black females have the highest growth rate of entrepreneurship in the entire country? They create more new businesses than any other group of people in America. But the problem is that those businesses are severely underfunded.
Doing more with less.
Right. Yeah. So just by providing, you know, an extra few $1 billion in capital, not even like grants or charity. I'm talking about just loans and shit. Like they can literally create, you know, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs in the black community tomorrow, right? So why are these businesses, these entrepreneurs, these black women starting all these companies, you know, who really have great visions, why are they underfunded? Why are they starving for money? But you're gonna go put $1 billion behind some little blonde-haired white girl from Stanford, like that little crazy chick on HBO they did the documentary about, who was stealing everybody's money. You know what I'm talking about? Theranos. They did a documentary on this white girl. She literally built a $9 billion company, and her whole like setup was BS. It wasn't even real. It was totally fake. She was pretending like she could do all these things, and they supported her because she had these blue eyes and blonde hair, and all these men were enamored with her or whatever. Like so to me, it's just like that money that they put behind her business could have funded that way. Okay. Mm-hmm. You could have funded 10,000 black businesses with the money you gave it. The money you gave that one white woman could have been used to fund 10,000 businesses in the hood. 10,000. I know people in the hood that are so gangster about their entrepreneurship that you give them $5,000, they could come back with 100,000. If you get or 10,000, you give them 10,000 in extra capital, they could flip that money 10, 15 times over, and do amazing things with that. Like black people, when we're really focused, we are extraordinary. Like it goes back to like that single mom who is making literally like $100 a week and is still able to feed like 4 kids. You know what I mean? Like just figuring it out. Like we have that in us. And so to me, black entrepreneurs carry that same spirit. Well, we don't even expect equal treatment. Like even myself, like I never thought that I would get the same treatment as a white boy. I knew, even though I've taught, you know, thousands of white boys who are now on Wall Street, whatever, Jewish kids, whatever, I have more expertise than 99.9% of the people that I've ever met in my life, because the PhD in finance is hard to get. Even with all that expertise, all that training, all that high level, you know, exposure I had to the field, you know, I never once thought I could get the same treatment as a white boy with an MBA. I never expected that. I never thought, you know, and it was good. It protects you. It protects your feelings from getting your feelings hurt, because I see a lot of black people who really believe the BS. They believe that America is suddenly this wonderful, fair country where everybody gets the same opportunities, even though the data doesn't support that. So what happens is they go out and they're expecting this equal treatment. They're expecting this great support, and they don't get it. And then they end up losing their damn mind. They end up, you know, becoming alcoholics and drug addicts and depressed and all that stuff. So I was like, well, I mean, I guess that's just what it is. As a black man, I already know I'm going to be seen a certain way. I already know I'm going to be treated a certain way. I already know that you're not going to really support me and back me the way you want me, the way you should. So I had to figure out creative ways to get what I needed. And we have done more. We have done more with no investing. We had no backing, none. When we started our shit, me and Lawrence were trying to get, we even had a meeting with these black men. There was a black guy who was like a part owner of the Boston Celtics or something. And we got him on the phone with 2 or 3 other brothers that we were trying to get to invest in this project we had. At that time, it was just a blog. It was Financial Juneteenth. And we explained, we showed them, like, we didn't just give them a concept. Like white people will pitch a concept and they'll get like $10 million to pursue their concept. We didn't have a concept. We had a working model. It was already making money. We were already like, look, we put in $2,000 and turned it into 30. So that's like, you know, 1,500% return on investment or whatever, right? So we were like, look, we just need you guys to make an additional investment so we can accelerate the growth. We already know it's going to work. We already know what's there. And I remember that this guy, I think the other two guys were convinced, like they were really hearing what I was saying. They were like, this is a great opportunity to make money. But the problem was that the leader of the group, this one guy who was the part owner of the Celtics, he instantly just said, I don't want to do it. And it bothered me. It kind of upset me a little bit at the time because I talked to this guy and he told me about the bullshit he was invested in. He was invested in like a nursing home where he was saying something like, you know, he invested in his niece's nursing home or something, and it was losing like tons of money. And then he was saying, well, I tend to look for 5 to 7% returns on my equities. You know, and he was married to a white woman and shit, right? So he was like in another, right. So I honestly believe that for him, the fact that we were a black business made him feel different than he would have felt if we were white guys, right? And so the thing was, though, you know, I mean, again, I have a PhD in finance. I'm very confident in my economic understanding. So I know that I know more about investing than he does, right? So I was kind of saying to him, I said, well, actually, you know, like the ROI in this space is really, really high. Like, I think you might want to, you know, consider this. But for some reason, he just said no instantly and didn't reconsider anything. And the other two, because he said no, it's actually when, and the minute he said no, one of the other guys who was a lawyer, who was pretty smart, he was like, oh, wait, well, hold on, wait, oh, let's not be too hasty here, right? But because the first guy had just said no, the other two kind of backed off. But here's the great thing about it, though. We made so much fucking money off that damn project. I think white Jesus and black Jesus that they did not invest with us, because we would have had to share that motherfucking money. We would have had to split the money. We made about $500,000 off that damn project, off of a maybe we invested maybe another 12 grand and made $500K off that shit. You know, so I'm like sitting here like you're stupid, bro. Like this was a great opportunity, and I showed you that it was already working, and you didn't get it. And the thing was, like, even with whether it was white banks or venture capitalists, all of them, it's just like for black business owners, it is hard to get the money that you need. And so to me, any politician that wants to get my ear, if they came to me and said, we're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're really going to support these black entrepreneurs, like for real, not with no BS, I would listen to that person. I don't give a shit if they are Democrat or Republican.
You do listen to people.
I wouldn't care.
People pitch to you a lot, though.
Well, people pitch to me. You talking about business pitches, or you talking about? Well, I get a lot of business pitches, and the problem is that there's just such little capital in the black community that it's just like, most people will pitch an idea and they'll be like, oh, so we need you to give us X thousands of dollars. And I'm like, what are you putting into this? Like, where, you know, we need you to put some skin in the game. Like, I'm not going to just put all my money behind it. And then if it doesn't work out, you're like, oh, sorry, Dr. Boyce, it didn't work out. Usually when people pitch me stuff, I like to see stuff that's already working. Show me that's already making money, because I have to protect our capital. Because I got people that I pay, who pay their rent off of the money that we pay them every month. So I can't be out here just being willy-nilly with the money. You know, I need something that shows a proof of concept. I also need you to show me skin in the game. Like, how many thousands of dollars are you putting up? What have you done to make this thing go? You know, and so, but really though, I think at the end of the day, it's like, that's one of the biggest challenges of the community, you know, and that's what I really would like to hear the politicians talk about. I really would love to see Robert Smith, the guy who gave all that money to Morehouse. I would like to see him take up the mantle of really supporting black businesses, like on a real level. Like don't get, you know, like the student loan thing was gang. I mean, that was epic. Smart. That was epic. Brilliant. It was great for him in terms of really making a real contribution to the community, liberating. He literally broke those black men out of chains. Just call him Harriet Tubman, because that was a financial Harriet Tubman kind of move, because those black men were going to be in chains from those damn student loans. I bet he's got a lot of requests to do speeches for graduation. Hell yeah, shit. He can give a speech at our house. But you know, so I loved it, and if I don't even know the guy, like I maybe I'll talk to Jay Morris and some other people, or Rick Mathis. I'm doing a movie with Rick Mathis. I think Rick might know him. Maybe we'll meet. But the thing is, I don't really want to work with him in a public sense, because I'm very radical. You know, like I'm sure he's friends with Oprah. what's real. So if I worked with him, I'd rather work with him behind the scenes and say, look, I don't want any credit. I don't need you. I don't want you to, you don't have to promote my presence on this at all. But man, let me just tell you where the illness lies, where the economic illness exists, so you can inject the medicine into the right parts of the black body. Like, that's what I would want to do. I'd want to say, okay, over here, do you know how many millions of dollars can be made just with, an investment of 50 grand? Do you know all these guys in the hood in Chicago, do you know how eager they are to be entrepreneurs and bosses and to learn how to run their own businesses? Do you know, give some money. Let's go to the Nation of Islam. Let's give some money to Farrakhan's people so they can bring their experts down to the hood, because they'll go to the hood that white people won't go to. The Chicago police won't go down there. The white people have thrown away those individuals, but the guys in the Nation of Islam haven't. So give them some resources. Let's go down the hood. Let's set up some economic training plans, and let's really do this thing. I actually pitched that to the guy Larry Miller that runs the Jordan brand. Also, I talked to him also about that, and I couldn't get them to quite do it. But I said, you talk about Jordans and all the people that are buying Jordans, the people that. He is a great guy. I like Larry Miller a lot. And I was trying to kind of nudge, I mean, because I think they have internship programs, or they have a program called A's for J's, where they will give money to people that they'll give Jordans to kids for making straight A's. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but that's a little too mainstream for the black male in America.
It's not structural change, right, like you're posing.
Yeah, the black male in America does not need a fucking mainstream solution. A mainstream solution will not work for the black male in America. Internships, corporate jobs, formal educational systems that are built on a foundation of racism do not work for the black male, because he does not get the kind of economic overhaul that he really needs to be the asset to his community he needs to be. It's also psychologically damaging. It's very damaging for black people to double down on their entrenchment in a racist economic system. Black men that really want to be free literally have to get off the grid. It's like because when you tell a black man, a man with pride, with his balls attached to his body, that in order to survive, he's got to go bow to a white man every day. A lot of brothers can't do that. A lot of black men are not built for that. And so to me, it's one of those things where it's almost like telling a woman that, like, in order for you to get ahead, you got to go ask your rapist for money. Like, you need to go to him and just be nice to him. He won't rape you anymore, but just go work for your rapist. Well, a lot of people wouldn't work for the person who assaulted them. So white people have assaulted us. Not all of them, not individually, but on a collective basis. There is trauma, there's abuse, there's mistreatment, there's been destruction, there's been all kinds of benign neglect, just complete total disrespect. So I can't go back to the people, to the institutions that assaulted me and ask them to take care of me, right? So instead, what black men need they need their own institutions. A lot of brothers I know, and women too as well, now it's not just a male thing, but a lot of the people I know are people where they don't really care if they would leave a big corporation to run a small business. Having that little mom and pop shop creates a type of pride and dignity that black people don't have. Like, black people need dignity. We need safe validation. We need things that are going to prop up our belief in ourselves and our confidence in who we are. So to me, I would love to see, so what I said to Larry, and I mentioned it to some people I know that talk to him more regularly, and I said, look, man, I think what the brothers need in the hood, I mean, all these brothers are wearing the J's, and they're everybody builds their template off the black male. The black male in America is a tastemaker. Everybody wants to dress like him. Everybody wants to be like him. They listen to the music he listens to. I said, so what we owe those men, in my opinion, is we owe them power and an opportunity to be empowered, right? Like these brothers in the hood that are in their 20s that really want to hustle and make money. I think that what the Jordan brand should do, as well as a lot of other brands, should come together and literally support black male entrepreneurship. Make that, carry the mantle for that. And because the thing about it is, it takes a lot less time for a black man to learn how to be a business owner than it takes for him to learn to be a great basketball or football player. Right? If we put the same amount of time into learning how to run businesses and be bosses as we put into learning how to play a sport for a white man, we could go out here and conquer the world. You would have some multi-millionaires. Jay Morrison always talks about how he said he used to be a street hustler and made his money in the street. He said, all I do now is I just hustle legally. I use the same hustle I used when I was slinging to do real estate. You know, so ultimately, I think for the black male, that's what you need. You need real solutions. So until I see real solutions coming from the mouth of a politician, I can't support them. But if I was, voting for a white Democrat, would I vote for Elizabeth Warren? I probably would, I guess.
Did she talk about some of these things?
No, she talked about.
Did he ask her about it?
Charlamagne didn't ask her about it, but if I talk to Charlamagne, I'll tell him I think they should ask about that. I think him and T.I., I think that what him and T.I. are doing is great. Even if Donald Trump's in the background, I don't give a shit who's in the background, as long as the money's real and the opportunities are real. I think black people got to get off this whole, like, I hate you because you're a Republican, or I love you because you're a Democrat stuff. I don't like any of that. It's like, I like you if you're helping. If you're not helping, then I don't like you, period. Because what that does is when you're overly aligned and overly committed to a political party, you weaken your position. You let people feel like they own you. So basically, we lose opportunities to appreciate some of the geniuses in our community, or some of the great opportunities that exist, because we're all caught up in this Democrat or Republican nonsense. So, like, for example, Dr. Ben Carson he's not a fucking idiot. He's not a dumbass lunatic. Maybe he shouldn't be running HUD, and he probably made a mistake by aligning himself with Trump. But Dr. Ben Carson, my mother used to talk about Dr. Ben Carson, because my mother used to say, his mom was a single mom, and his mother, got him to the top of the medical profession. So we learned about hard work and dedication and discipline from Ben Carson's story. Now, his politics, to me, should be secondary to appreciating the fact that the man accomplish something that all of our children should be accomplishing. All of our children should be educationally excellent. So, to me, but instead, we're not trying to be excellent in education. We're trying to follow around some damn illiterate rapper. Some of these damn mumble rappers can't spell their mama's fucking first name, and we honoring that shit. We think that's cool. We think that's great. But then when somebody want to talk about education, we're like, oh, but he's a Republican, we're not going to listen to him. Well, then that's why you're losing, because you're caught up in this damn Democrat-Republican bullshit, and you're not focused on real shit. You're not focused on real solutions. You're only playing this damn political theater, and you're going to sit there and you're going to keep going backwards. You're going to end up in the same damn place you always have been, because the Democratic Party done kept you in the same place for 50 years. And they're going to keep you in the same place as long as your ass is dumb enough to let them do it. Same thing with the Republicans too, by the way. So if you think I'm trying to be a Republican, I'm not interested in that either. But anyway, hit the thumbs up button. I know I was going to talk about all of this, but this is really what was on my mind. So y'all know how I am. I just share what's on my mind. We're about to hop on this flight in a second. Hit the thumbs up button, please. Hit the thumbs up button. Also, if you want to support our podcast, feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. We'd love to have you as a patron. It's not a donation. It's an investment, because we give you lots of free stuff in exchange for your support. So intelligentblackpeople.com. Also, with the summer coming, if you want your children to know wealth, I believe that the black family needs to become the new educational institution. Your household needs to be the university that your children always needed. So we actually created tools for your children, real solutions. Go take a look at them. These are our financial workbooks for children. A lot of people love them. It took us a long time to put them together, and we did it just for black people and nobody else. So you can go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. Or you can go to financialflashcards.com. That's financialflashcards.com. One of the things that I did with our 9-year-old is I gave her a little bit of money, and she wants to be a dancer. And y'all see Tay-Tay sometimes on the podcast. So Tay-Tay wants to be a dancer and a singer and a performer. So I gave her some money, and I said, I want you to put together a dancing and singing routine, just like Beyonce. And just like Beyonce gets paid for her performances, we're going to pay you for yours. But we also want you to show us that you are as smart as you are talented. So I want you to learn 5 of the financial flashcards and give me 5 financial before we left for this trip. That's one of the examples of how we use the flashcards in our household. Anytime, I don't do it.
They love those flashcards. Wait, the books that are in the house, can they use those books? Because I know that's like
Oh yeah, of course they can.
Okay, all right. That's what I'm gonna give them this summer.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
I can get some more.
Okay.
Yeah, and so really, you know, you need your boys and your girls to become financially intelligent. The girls need it because a lot of financial abuse happens because the women may not know how to make money, and they depend on a man who is paying their bills. It happens the way black men get abused financially is a lot of brothers out here, you know, are struggling. They don't know how to make money, you know, because they're waiting on a white person to give them a job. And I'm just telling you that we got to get rid of that mindset. We got to kill it. And so literally every day I feel like I'm the exterminator, and I'm exterminating I'm exterminating like racialized thinking and backward thinking and coonery and slavery, economic victimization, all of that. Like I want to exterminate that, like literally every day. And that's why I just am I'm repetitive about my message in terms of what I believe, because I have thought about it 10 million times over. I'm not a stupid person. I have more education than damn near 99.9% of the people I'll ever meet, and I know this is the solution. In fact, most people, the number one thing that stresses them out is money. The number one reason that people get divorced is money. The number one reason that people end up, you know, doing dumb shit or getting locked up or going into bad situations is because of money. So to me, if black people master the money, like mentally, if we do mental mastery of money, like we just know where it's at, know how to get it, know how to invest, know how to build businesses, know how to buy real estate, and we value that as just a general cultural principle, then black people won't be able to be stopped. Like we'll be the greatest economic champions on earth. Like I want black people to be, you know, 50 years from now what the Jews are right now economically, except better. You know, because I think when black people, when we really push ourselves, we add twists to things and we make it unlike anything anybody's ever seen. So I really think that when black people become the economic champions, I think we're going to be less abusive than other people. I think also we're going to just be better at it. I really think when we're passionate, I think our melanin kicks in and makes us extraordinary. I just believe that when black people finally figure out who we are and finally start digging into that and just really fighting passionately for what we believe in and building for the future, we're going to be extraordinary. So anyway, it's financialworkbooks.com and financialflashcards.com. Feel free to go take a look. Also, I'm going to leave you guys with one quote that hopefully will help you. It's a Warren Buffett quote. Warren Buffett said this. He said that people who are sitting in the shade today are probably sitting there because somebody planted a tree in the past, right? So if so anybody who's sitting in the shade today is sitting in the shade because somebody planted a tree that was going to give them shade. So for black people, if you want your children to be in the shade, meaning economically secure, then go ahead and plant the tree for them now so that they can sit in the shade in the future, right? So that's what I'm gonna leave you guys with. And thanks for hanging out with us. We're about to take off, so I'll hit you guys back up when we get to New York, and I'll tell you guys all about that trip. So take care, have a good day. See you soon. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the